So this is the view from my desk this morning. As you can see, it's a little bit messy, but I have started a slow stitch project and I'm going to show you some of the other project boxes that I've put together. And this is the first one that I've done, and I've put it onto a layer of batting, which would normally be used for quilting, but I had some offcuts. So I thought I'd cut those into A4 sheets and some slightly larger, and then I can just layer some pieces of fabric onto them and do a bit of slow stitching in the garden, and then they'll make some really lovely journal covers. And I've got somebody in mind for this particular one. It's mainly using felt and fabric scraps, and I'm going to be adding some slow stitching over the top, using some vintage threads and also some other vintage items and some buttons and whatnot. So I'll show you the finished project in a little while, and I'll show you some of the other project boxes that I've got on the go. But yeah, the rest of my desk is a little bit messy there, and you can see my little mermaid art doll sat there as well to give me a little bit of inspiration. And just at the back there, if you can see them, the inspiration for this project, which I didn't even realise, were some crystals that I had sat on my desk from a different project, but I've obviously been picking out some colours based on the crystals that I'm feeling at the moment. So you can see there the greens and oranges and yellow, and they go, and this particular project goes beautifully with my desk. So there you go. I'll speak to you in a moment. Hi there. So it's a bit unusual seeing me on camera, but I thought it was a nice time to say hello to everybody. So this is the piece that I'm working on at the moment, and it's just a mix of felt and fabric. This bit here isn't stuck on yet. I'm going to be stitching that on in a minute, but I'm thinking because it's got some iron-on backing on, I'm probably going to quickly iron it on, even though there's a bit of mesh underneath. I'll be ironing that on, make it a little bit easier to stitch around. Originally I was going to form the petals as a flower, but when I put it onto the fabric I thought, you know, that looks really nice just as a row of petals, so I decided to keep that as it is. And then what I'm going to do is add a few beads from one of the jewellery jars and possibly some buttons from one of the jewellery jars that I bought, and I've got those in a charity shop haul that I'll show you. I'll just add that video below. So I'll probably add some of those. I'm also going to be adding some vintage thread, because the thread, I've been told probably it's not good for using for garments because it could degrade over time, but I just think it's really nice. It's so lovely to work with, especially the synthetic silk from the Silco brand. And it's just really nice to have those items around, so I'm really looking forward to using that. I used that in the first project, the slow stitch project that I did, so I'm looking forward to using those because they've literally just been sat in my sewing box, not doing a great deal. So it would be nice to add a few pieces there that are vintage and just have a little bit more sort of not sort of memories to them, because it's just nice to have that sort of thing around. So I'm babbling now. Anyway, this is one of the original slow stitch projects that I showed in a video, I think a little while ago. I'm not sure actually whether you've seen this. I probably showed one of the other dolls that I made. So I thought it'd be nice to show you this. Now I did stitch most of this, but some of them are actually glued on. Some of these little pieces here are just glued on, and these are only just cheap gems from a kid's set. I raided my daughter's old craft kits, as I was having a bit of a clear out, and I thought, you know what, I may as well use some of those as well, and picked out some sequins that were in there. And it really, this is just an attempt to stop me from buying things, because I was on Amazon and Shein and places like that looking at sequins and beads and stuff like that. I thought, you know what, I've got so many, just sort them out and use some of them in your project. So this is one of the little projects that I've made recently. She's got a cute little face, and I have made those into little iron-on applique so that I can just add them onto my doll projects when I want to. They're available as a download on Etsy. Now this one actually has a crystal in her, so she sits, it's a large crystal bead, so she sits neatly on the desk, and if you want you can just pop her on the edge of the desk like that, and then she sits with a little tail over the edge, and she's just really cute and is keeping me company. So that's another little slow stitch project, and I've done a few of these, and they're just really lovely because felt and fabric with the iron-on backing is just so easy to use, so easy to sew through, so that's really nice. I'm going to show you now on the top-down camera some of the boxes that I have made up and I'll be doing some slow stitch projects with. later on. So I'm going to transfer to the next camera. So I put the projects into these cute little boxes that are supposed to be for photographs, I understand, and they come in a big case. So I've got several of them and they're all different colours. And that really helped me to be able to just differentiate between the different projects and to pick out colours. I thought it'd be nice to complement the colour of the box with the colour of the project that I've got on the in the box. So these are just some scratch. You have to excuse me. I've got terrible hay fever at the moment. So yeah, I might be coughing a little bit at the moment. So these are just some scrap fabrics that I had in my scrap box. I've got some felt and some just cottons, and I've die cut some numbers there. This one's actually going to be a topper for an item for my friend's 50th birthday. I thought I may as well put those in as well because I thought that would look cute. So I've just picked out a few colours that I thought went nicely. This is the pink and green box, and I picked out some embroidery thread and and also some mesh, some netting, because that always looks nice when it's layered over cotton and felt, just to add a bit more texture, and it's nice to embroider over. And then I just picked out a few things like, for example, some wool, a bit more netting there, some little flowers, some die cut circles and things like that, a little bit of ribbon, and it's just odds and sods that I had sat in boxes, not really doing a great deal, just scratch really. So I'm just going to add those onto that project. So that's the pink one, and that's going to be a 50 topper. Although I might end up doing more than one project with this because there's actually quite a lot in there. Once I started putting things together, that's when I found that I was putting loads in because I have a lot of stuff, I have a lot of scraps. So it was really nice to just put a few things together randomly so that I could just not have any thought what I was doing. All the decisions were already made for me. So that's the pink box. And I think this one was my original project. So it's got a bit of spark on there. So I'll be adding things like sequins and stuff as well, and a few beads probably as well. So this was the one that inspired me to put the boxes together. So the next one is my yellow box. And in here I was inspired to put yellow fabric, obviously, a little bit of white, and also some reds because I thought those colours looked really nicely together. I do have quite a lot of polka dot because I just really love polka dot, just my thing. And I did used to make applique, and that seemed to be quite popular. So I'm using going to be using some gold thread with that. And I also put together, I found these little die cut circles made out of a t-shirt that was my eldest daughter's, when she went to a primary school, a different primary school. And I just die cut these as backings to make little button brooches. And I thought I've not used those for ages, so I may as well try and use some of those up in this project. And I've got a little bit of ribbon, just some embroidery thread, and another bit of net. So just a few bright, sunshiny colours, the lovely warm colours to go in the yellow box. You can see I've absolutely stuffed it. Getting it closed. There we go. Right, so the next one is the green box, sort of jade green, teal green. And I have used, again, a lot of polka dots in here because that's just the sort of thing I like. I've got a little bit of white for base, a bit of mint green felt, just a bit of die cut, off cut, iron on. And then these bits were in my staff. So I used a lot of the pieces of felt and just die cut a few little flowers out. So I have those to use if I wanted to. I did have a few of these from my daughter's craft stuff that she doesn't use anymore, so I picked out a few of those flowers and just put them into the relevant boxes. This gorgeous sea green netting, and that's absolutely beautiful. I used to make doll clothes, so I've got quite a lot of this sort of stuff because it's lovely for making the sort of ruffled edges of doll clothes, and it's just, I just love colour. A little bit of different coloured netting and some recycled felt. This is from a cashmere jumper because I use a lot of cashmere jumper in crafts. So these are all recycled, it's not new stuff. So it's been washed, and in order to try and shrink it slightly, picked up from charity shops and on eBay and whatnot. And then I've just cut a little square of that. Some grey wool and a little flower that I made ages ago out of some lining fabric, some dress lining fabric. So I'm hoping to use that in there as well. That's that set. And the light blue, I've put some pretty felts in there and just some offcuts of fabric. That's just some new cotton scrap. And this is from a top I used to have. I just cut that up. So they're lovely colours that go well. A little bit of embroidery thread to go in there. And very similar to the other box, just a little bit more wool, embroidery floss, flowers, and a bit of net ribbon, and just some die cuts. And this is a little moon die cut, so I thought that would be quite inspirational. I'm not sure quite what I'm going to do with that yet, but I'm sure I'll find something to inspire me. The greeny light blue box. They're not going in quite as neatly as they did when I packed them. I'll sort those out later. So the next one is a blue box, another blue box, and we've got some various textures in here. I actually found a button when I was tidying up, so I'm going to use that bit of ribbon and wool. So these are die cuts from an old placemat, so just a little bit of extra texture in there, and again a few flowers, and some more felted cashmere from a sweater. Just little tiny offcuts that don't get used for other things. Often I'll just die cut little flowers out of them. It's nice just to have a little tiny swatch to use. Some embroidery floss, and these are the colours that I'm going to be using for the background. So just some offcuts of fabric. Most of these are new, but I think that this one's from an offcut of something that maybe was recycled originally. Sorry, excuse that. Clearing of the throat. And last box that I've got ready to go is more of a sort of vintagey look to it. So I've used some maroon and green and just some offcuts of fabric, some cotton fabric, some polycotton, with the burnt orange thread, some bits and bobs that just go with it. So a little bit of seam binding and ribbon, and I found another little bit of sweater. I thought that was really sweet, just a little offcut. I think that was from something my mum gave me, and some ribbon, gold ribbon, I think was torn from a piece of fabric, and that came from my sister-in-law. She wrapped a present for me in it. And then these are just cut from felt. And this was an old sweater that was mine. It was highly embellished, and it was such a shame to cut it up, but it had a few holes coming in it, and some of the embroidery was coming off. And I thought, you know what, I may as well just repurpose it into flowers. And this was from a jacket my mum gave me. So there you go. Lots of bits and bobs to use, and I'm going to go and pack these up now, and I'm going to take my orange and blue and yellow project into the garden, and I'll show you all the finished projects as I go. So thanks very much for joining me, I appreciate your support. Please give me a thumbs up if you don't mind, if you enjoyed seeing some of these project boxes and the projects that I'm doing at the moment with stitching. I hope you do enjoy the stitching, because that's something that I'm really enjoying at the moment, doing in the garden. And I hope you're having some crafty fun, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. So take care. Bye.